Note to self, don't adjust table while you're actually live. Fortunately, there's video editing and I can clip that out. Okay. But if you're here, hello. Welcome to actually this is our maiden voyage into 2018,
That's
isn't it? Our
right.
first
That's right. Exactly.
welcome to Marketing Momentum of 2018. Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Hello, Charles.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody.
And I just realized it's a note to clip. I'm going to see if I can try to get that thing right there. I ran it into the wall. I told you I missed Michael.
Of course.
It's another microphone, but it's actually too heavy for me to move. Okay. Again, thanks for video editing. We'll clip that part out. Okay. We're back. And so our topic today is ways to make money in 2018. And it's something I've seen pop up. I don't know if it's a topic that in New Year resolutions or whatever pops up in January. It's like, how am I going to do this? How am I planning? Budgeting, whatever. And so that'd be an interesting topic. I don't have any preconceived lists, so I'm curious what we come up with, Charles. But if you were asked that, let's say somebody unfortunately lost their job or thought they were going into retirement and decided that they actually need to bring in at least a part-time income. And they came to you and said, Charles, hey, I know you're on the internet, you're making money. How can I make money in 2018? And it doesn't have to be on the internet. I mean, well, I suppose then we add in mowing people's lawns, or you couldn't really do that in parts of California. But anyway, what would you say?
Yeah, I kind of think that probably that. Okay, so there's the fast way, which I think could make people uncomfortable. Right.
So everyone's tuning in. What's the right. Selling Oxycontin? No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. And if any feds are listening, I would never do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the fast way, but legal. But it just makes people uncomfortable. They don't like to sell. And that pretty much is finding a way to teach other people, something that they're desperate to do. Right. And even if you don't have the expertise, you go and either buy or partner up with the expertise and you bring that information to market. But it has to be something that people are desperate, right, to learn. For example, like I'm not really into Bitcoin, but people want to know about Bitcoin, that kind of thing. It has to be that kind of really now thing that people are really desperate to learn, like right now. And that's the fastest way. I don't know if it's the surest way, but it's the fastest way.
So if you're good at it, if you're a good salesperson, there's no reason why you can't make a bundle on the internet.
Selling something. And typically, I mean, the easiest thing to sell on the internet is going to be information, right? Mm-hmm. Teaching somebody how to do something. And that's what I mean. If somebody's really desperate, right? Let's say it's ADHD and you know of something that works like right now. I mean, it's almost mercenary to kind of talk about it and you don't really want to look at it that way. But because it's such a sort of an out of the place, out of the world topic, and that people really want to solve it like right now, they're looking at their kid, they're thinking, well, man, I want to help my kid like now. People will pay for that kind of information. So it has to be that kind of, I guess, almost desperation to solve a problem. And you have a solution that you can present to people.
Now, especially if it's affordable, I am guilty of buying a lot of products, whether it's PLR, whether it's ebooks, whether it's reports, whatever. For some reason, if it's like $5 to $14, $5 to $17, even if it's really, really good and I'm really desperate for it, like you said, Charles, 27, I don't know what it is with these 7 numbers for some reason, the 7, 17, 27. But it works. 30, it's like, oh, that's too much. 27, yeah, I'll fork that over because I really, really want this information.
Yeah, and I mean, that's and there are I think there's a small number of people who can do that successfully. I mean, I know anybody can make money on the internet, but there's a small sort of, and I don't think they're a group or a cabal or anything, but it's just that kind of person, right? Because if there was no internet, that person would probably kind of find that crack where in the marketplace where they'd be making money anyway that nobody else is kind of really into, and they just kind of use their ability to sell. There is a more sure way, I think, at this point in time, and that really is to kind of take your expertise, bundle it, try to find a connection between like where you're good at, not just good, where you really know something really well and people really want to know it, and then make that connection and then sell that information. And there's no, and the fact of the matter is, there are no rules on what you can charge. There are no rules on how many you can sell. I mean, it's really just making that connection between like something that not everybody can teach but you, and then teaching people that thing.
Okay, so you have me thinking. I mean, this is something I've already done. I'm going to run it past you, Charles, and you can pretend like you're critiquing the idea. If it's a good idea, then maybe our viewers, tuner inners, is that a word? Listeners can apply. If it's a bad idea, you can say, "Don't do it." Deb's doing it. It's a really, really stupid idea. But
I know.
okay, I'm not going to tell you the domain because I'm not quite ready to come out. No, it's not like coming out of the closet or anything like that. But it's and some of you who know me and know some personal information about me might be able to figure it out. And I don't, if you want to contact me on Skype and say, "Hey, is this whatever, whatever?" I'm not trying to be secretive to keep it from anybody. I do believe in transparency, but it's because that's actually part of the strategy. And Charles, I may have mentioned it to you kind of offline, but I put together a website that relates to something that's very personal about me that I wanted to, again, you could probably guess. I'm here. What's Charles thinking? What's Charles thinking now? It's very personal about me, and I feel like the information needs to get out because there probably are other people like me who may be struggling and may want to know what's it like, how does somebody cope, this kind of thing. But it's one of those things that I'm not ready to come out and say, "Hey, this is a part of who I am," because I don't want it to become Deborah the blank. And like I said, you probably can figure it out. It's something that Charles, because you're a close friend. You and your wife. Yeah, I'd like to see your daughters. By the way, Charles has most adorable kids. I just got to say that. Your daughters are so...
Yeah, but I live with them, though.
That's true. You see all facets. Something that a lot of people know about me who know me personally, but it's not something that I want to have on my Google profile or my Facebook profile or my LinkedIn profile or whatever. But I still want to get the information out there because, and I have to admit, when you said ADHD, it made me think of it. So something like that. Obviously, you have to ask yourself, how do I make money with that? I mean, my intent when I put the website together was to be real. And I'll give you a hint. The domain has the word real in it. Okay, now I've told too much information, but to be real so that people could search for this information and say, "Wow, I had no idea that that's what you do to cope with this certain thing," or whatever. But if I want to make money with that, first of all, there's the whole idea of niche marketing. I have 50 sites. I think I've said it before on Marketing Momentum. Don't do that. Don't do what I do and get 50 sites. It is nerve-wracking. You don't get sleep, stressed, whatever. Like get under 5. 5 is a max. But the whole idea of niche marketing. And if you did that and you decided that you're going to be anonymous and just make it an information site, there needs to be some way to monetize that, whether it's a membership. Maybe there's an ebook that's available on the website. Maybe, like, for example, what I should do is write something, compile the really meaty information, and then make that available for $27, and then have the blog. Okay, I've talked enough, Charles. Now, if you had to critique that, is that a really silly idea, or is that something someone could do? Especially
I
they're
think
shy.
it's something somebody could do. Let's say that. Let's say what it is. I've talked to my sister about this, and like my sister, she's a pharmacist. And she's done a lot of sort of teaching about diabetes. And what I have said to her is, I said, well, I mean, you could take that knowledge and you can put it in a format and you can make it available to people, and it can pay you. And I think that there's sort of like these two ways to go about it. The first is to be anonymous. Right. And so that you're not seen, and so that it's not seen as medical advice. So that being
very
the
good
case,
information. I mean, legal aspect over there.
Yeah. And so what that then becomes is attracting people to a place where they can get good information. And what you're basically doing is you're giving away the information in order to get them to see the things around them that they can actually purchase. So, for example, maybe there is an information product that people are actually addressing that problem. And I say information problem and not Kindle books and not Amazon, because just quite frankly, if somebody makes a purchase from an Amazon affiliate link, I mean, you're going to get 6%. right? You just at some point it as an affiliate, it's almost difficult to make that worth your time in putting together the site. Now, I
Mhm.
know people who do it, and they are people who have lots of sites. Sometimes they're related, sometimes they're not. But in order to make that model work, you almost have to have, I think, a lot of sites because of the size of the commission. And so because of that, you'd almost want to find an angle to it where there is or there are several information products that would range from $37 to $97, whereas the affiliate, you're going to get paid 50% of that. And typically, there's a funnel, there's an upsell and all the other stuff. And so every time that person buys something, then you're gonna make that commission. So if you can do that once with the people that you're bringing to your site, like building an audience with, you can do it over and over again, right? So the model is bring the audience. While the audience is there, you have these things around them that they can buy, and you make them enticing enough so they can see them, and then they buy them. And of course, yes, you could produce something, but then that would kind of take away from the whole anonymous sort of aspect of it, right? If you just want to kind of build it and you want to be a different person, you want to be like somebody who's got a different name because you don't want your name out there, then you're really trying to do something that I think is easy. Because again, if you have to write something, you have to sell something, and you're going to be anonymous, it's difficult today to write an ebook under a pen name and then sell it, because you really do have to be visible at some point, and somebody will look at it and say, that's not Jane Austen, that's Deb Anderson. That's Deb Anderson, I know.
Purple hair, blue hair, whatever, it's still
that's Deb Anderson, I know who that is, right? So so I think that the affiliate route to remain anonymous is sort of the easiest way to make money, but you still got, and see what's interesting about that, about being an affiliate is you've almost still got to do a lot of the same things that you would do if you were creating the content and the product yourself, because you still ultimately have to build an email marketing list, right? So because otherwise trying to go out and get new traffic every single day is just hard and is expensive in terms of time, expensive in terms of money. So when these people come to your site, then you've almost got to make sure you get them into something. I do not trust social media yet for the kind of intimacy that you would need to get people to buy repeatedly. I've heard that there are a lot of people who have Facebook groups, and they get them in and they're able to kind of build the kind of relationship, and they know when to post and all that stuff. I have not seen that done in a way that would be consistent, that I would tell somebody, you go for it and you do it that way. I do know that we're still in an era where, I mean, quite frankly, if you can build an email marketing list, you have the opportunity to be able to speak to people in a way that they will be willing to buy stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's something that, and I think this is where you're going, Charles, but the email marketing list is something that you own, as far as you have access to that list. Even if your email service provider goes down, if you can,
right,
if you're exporting the list regularly, you have that list to import it into another service provider's website.
That's exactly right.
Whereas, I was thinking, what was it? Oh man, it was a year and a half ago now when Examiner.com went away. I used to write regularly for Examiner, and I loved it and could write news articles. I had access to publish it, which is something a lot of times authors don't have the access to actually publish the article on another site. And when they went down with, I think, 10-day notice, everybody was scrambling. Someone came to me, except unfortunately it was 180 articles. They wanted me to do it for free, which was manually grabbing. It's like, I love you and all that, but I just don't have that kind of time. But fortunately, I'd already backed up all my articles. But, people hear about things going down, like an email service provider. And I'm not saying that there's any rumor of any going away, but what's it, Sue.co that went away? We could make a whole show on just the places that disappeared in the last year. So I like your idea on the email marketing list, that's something that the person can feel a little sense of control. Not that we're about control, but that it's not going to be taken away from them without notice.
Yeah, I mean, the longer, I guess, the more difficult, probably the longer term. It would take a little longer, but I think it's a little more sure of a footing because again, if I'm selling affiliate products, there are two sides of the coin, right? I'm selling your product as an affiliate, but I have no control over how you're going to treat the customer. So, I mean, you could be having a bad month, you could be having a bad quarter, you could be having just a bad day, getting a fight with the dog, doesn't matter. You just think, well, you make you anger the customer, and while they may not necessarily unsubscribe or get off the email marketing list, they just decide they're going to send a refund, right? So they're gonna refund it because you're having a bad day. I personally do not want to even base a supplemental income on how another person handles their customer. I don't want to say, well, I want to make $500 or $600 extra a month because that's going to help me make this car payment. But that still, let's say I do have control of my email list. I still don't have control over how you service your customer, because I've heard that affiliate marketing is wonderful because you don't have to deal with the customer. Sorry, but it's a privilege to make money online, first of all. So it's not like we're going to war. It's not like we're going in. Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're going out and having to we're on the front lines in some, it's not a lot of work. So even if you have to deal with a customer online, it's not a hardship, right? So
right.
I think that because of that, ultimately, even if you're an affiliate, you have to eventually become this person that will sell their own information product. You don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be people. Even if you got to get the people together to put the product together, you then have control over your entire stream of income, as opposed to putting it in somebody else's hands, because it's no different than putting it in Facebook's hands if you're not going to create the product. Right. It's no different than putting it in YouTube's hands if you're not going to be the person that creates the thing that people ultimately buy.
That makes a lot of sense. So you know what, you're saying that, and I'm thinking back to the days, and I remember it's so exciting. Do you remember this when you first discovered the internet? And it's like, oh, look at this, look at this. You can't quite get that back. It's kind of like buying your first new car or something, or even your first car, that new car smell. But I think it was the turn of the century, that make your site sell, make your knowledge sell. Did they make your information sell? There's like 3 products, and now I can't remember what it was, but it was for a long time their flagship product, make your site sell, was really big. And then towards the end, they moved into make your knowledge sell, and that was all about this, wherever it is that you're an expert, go out there and get the information out there. But it was kind of on that cusp. It was before blogging, but it was like, wow, you mean I know something and I can just write it up and sell it,
And you think that, I mean, the first time, I may have even said this years ago on this show, the first time you see something show up in your PayPal account for something that you created out of your brain, you're thinking, you want to look around like, are they going to catch me? These people are crazy. These people are crazy. They gave me money for this. So
I've had those moments. The article, really $600. It's like, you paid me $600. I wrote that in an hour. It's like,
right. It's like, what have I been doing all my life before this?
Yes.
So I think, ultimately finding, and I mean, I guess it can be called a niche, but I guess it's really kind of connecting either sort of what you do well to what people want. And I do think it really does come back down to selling information. I like the coaching model, right? I like service model. However, I'm tied to that. So I still, to some degree, I have to be someplace. And so, if my coaching student says, I'm having an emergency, and I'm saying, well, no, I'm on a cruise. They're like, well, no, I'm having an emergency.
I've been there too, or 7-day cruise. So I really can't come in and help you. I'm out in the middle of some ocean, and I'm not sure which one.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, so I think even still, even if you are an extremely high price, competent service provider, ultimately there should be something that you could kind of give to somebody, or somebody could go and get at the proverbial 2 a.m, buy it, and then they don't have to have contact with you, and they've got everything that they need from you, and they've paid you, right? And I think while it is not necessarily easy to come to that point, I think that is a place where you sort of have to get to in order to make the whole online thing make sense.
Which it sounds like right there, you've actually summed up our time together today. I mean, it's kind of like not so much the what on the list as much as it is, this is what you're aiming for. Even if you're doing it another way while you get there, this is where you're aiming, and you're aiming for somewhat of that passive income, that 2 a.m. Even if you have to do some support for some your own products and things like that, you do want to have products available for people who don't need support. Maybe, I don't know what the ratio is, but maybe there's 9 people that just go buy it. You don't ever hear from them, but and no offense to those 9 people. And obviously if they don't contact you, they don't need support, whatever, but you've made the money. And then maybe 1 out of 10 needs support. Again, I don't know what the ratio is. I'm just throwing that out there. But that was something that we had with the domain registration service, was people, and we were on a cruise and people could go register domains and had someone covering support, because there's always questions, but you can actually leave for an emergency. Your kid calls you up and you need to go be somewhere and take care of your family. The business is still running.
Yeah, I guess, and it is so true. It is that, you do what you have to do if you have to make a buck, right? If you have to make a buck. I guess if there's any magic in generating an income online of any kind, if it's $10, if it's $10,000, is, how much do you physically have to be there for? If there's any magic to it, it is that as much of that as possible, you sort of want to have it so that your direct, every day, every hour, 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour presence is not required.
That would be very helpful, especially if you're going for a doctorate, which I suggest you don't. I've said that to so many people. I know it's nasty. I'm finishing my doctorate because I finished what I start, kind of thing. But no. I've said it before on this show. If you haven't done it, make sure you really want it. Otherwise, don't go for it. Because you definitely, if you're doing something like that, or even any kind of online school, trying to work, have a family, working online can be really a challenge. And Charles, both of us have done that. We've been doing this for a few years, and I think I started this when my kids were in diapers. At some point, I might have taken a break and gone into corporate America, but it's like, hold on, honey, I'll change your diaper. Like they really get what I'm saying. It's like, what was it? My daughter pulled out. Okay, I shouldn't go there, but it was a flattened baby mouse. I didn't know it was on the floor. I'm not this dirty housekeeper. I have no idea, but she was about to eat it. That's a time where, if you're working online, you need to set aside the support to go grab the dead mouse.
You gotta grab it.
Right. And so it's like, oh my goodness.
At least if it's the firstborn. If it's the secondborn, you're kind of like,
exactly.
Don't figure it out.
She's like, you let me touch that? No, honey, I didn't let you touch it. You found it somehow, like underneath the carpet or whatever. We bought the house from somebody else. It's like, oh my goodness, that is just horrible. But no, for the record, anyone watching this, my daughter did not eat a mouse. So it's on that one. She's still alive today. She's at college. But before we go, just this, it's, what do you call it? Housekeeping. Something I was saying about, I was just listening to Charles. You're so inspiring, by the way. And I know I started this when I was talking about the whole anonymity thing. There's 2 things you have to keep in mind if you want to go down that path and do something anonymous. Your promotion, and I think you touched on this as well, Charles, but the promotion aspect is going to be a headache, because if you start promoting it as yourself, you're no longer anonymous. Mm-hmm. So either you need to create an alter ego, which, Charles, you said it doesn't work. Pen names don't work. It's not as easy as it is in this age of transparency, which is a whole nother show in and of itself, to be an alter ego or you can, but it's, like you said, someone's going to figure out, oh yeah, I've seen the IP address. I know who that person is or right. Whatever. So the promotion, if you have a lot of money, probably what you have to do to be effective is go hire an agency to promote the website, so you're not even connected to it. But that costs money. So keep in mind that money or resources, time, effort, all of that is increased if you're anonymous. And the other thing is, in this one, I don't know, people sometimes forget the domain. You know, I mean, the first thing I do if I want to know who someone anonymous, I'd be like, how dare you not tell me who you are? I'm going to go look up in the domain who is and figure out who owns the domain. Put your domain on that private registration, which, by the way, I did on this domain, so that no one can connect it. But yeah, I'm doing it because I want to be able to be completely open and free and share things that I wouldn't normally say myself, for the purpose of, and if that's the situation people watching the show find themselves in, then anonymous is an option. But I think more importantly, rewind, unless Charles repeats it. Rewind to see what Charles said, because Charles, you summed it up. You have so many quotes in this. You always do, but in this episode, there's so many things I want to hit a tweet.
I appreciate that.
So how would you sum it up in one tweet?
Find the connection between what you're good at in the market, and then make it available. Make it happen, or to Buzzline. There you go. Cool. I'm gonna create tweets. Click to tweet. Stick it on this video. Quote Charles. Click. There you go. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our first episode in 2018, and we will see you in the next episode of Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Okay. Bye, Deb. Bye, everybody.